I thought about so you know how the Yellowcard thing, where they sued that rapper that you listen to,
Which one was that?
Juice WRLD.
Oh yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, he died, and then they were continuing to sue him, but then eventually dropped the lawsuit. So apparently, like, Yellowcard, they're like actually like at the time they were inactive, like whenever they were doing this lawsuit, but like they're like back, you know, because of course they are. And so they're signed to Equal Vision for some reason. I don't know why. And so I just saw Equal Vision posting about like how they were in Asbury Park like this weekend, and I was just like, oh, that's weird. And so then I started looking at the thing, and I was like, yeah, what were they suing this kid over? And so they were claiming that his song their song Hollywood Died was like he ripped that song off for his song called Lucid Dreams.
Okay.
And so I had never heard that song, of course, and I hadn't heard the song Hollywood Died since probably 2008 maybe. And so then I was like, oh, you know, let me see what's going on. And I kind of see it a little bit, but not really. So I thought about maybe like including that in a segment, but not because like it's so old at this point. But then like now Yellowcard is like, you know, back on the thing, like playing Ocean Avenue again. And it's like, okay.
It just reeks of desperation to me.
Yeah.
You know?
It was like, we need some cash.
Mm-hmm.
We need some cash. We're not touring anymore. We're not a band anymore. Like at the point that they were suing him. And yeah. So the what got them to not like to drop the suit was that the rapper's mother took over his estate, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to sue his mom. And this was finally got them to stop.
Oh, that's the line. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he passed away. It was that the mom took over.
Yeah, because they're like, well, we're going after the record labels and, you know, the management and everybody else that, you know, had a piece of the pie. But then whenever the mother was like, you know, in control of the estate, they're like, oh, okay, well, this is even worse optics, maybe. I don't know. Everybody was already like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, suing a dead guy. You know, somebody that had just died, right? You know, died very young, you know. But then I was looking, and one of the pieces of like evidence that was in their claim was that, so, and I thought this is pretty funny. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. This is from Rolling Stone. Because I was just looking this up just the other day. While the suit does not include any direct quotes from Juice WRLD where he mentions either the song or the album, it does claim that Juice WRLD would have likely been familiar with Yellowcard because he cited their emo and pop punk peers such as Fall Out Boy, Foo Fighters, and Devil Wears Prada as influences in past interviews.
That's very funny for a few different reasons. Just the fact that Yellowcard thinks they're significant enough to be ripped off by a world famous rapper, but then to also think they're significant enough to be in the same conversation as like the Foo Fighters.
Right. Or even Fall Out Boy.
Even Fall Out Boy, like, sure.
Super massive.
I mean, Fall Out Boy was featured on the Taylor Swift album that came out yesterday. So like we're talking about a different universe here.
Yeah. Like, you know, he didn't mention us, but he mentioned people that are kind of similar to us, like the Foo Fighters. It's like, what are you talking about? People know your one song from like 2002. And
even then they would recognize the song, but then they would be like, oh yeah, who was that by again?
Right. Oh yeah, who was that by? Was that the Ataris? Who was that?
Yeah.
Who was that? Yeah. And then so the lawsuit also quotes an interview Juice WRLD gave in which he said he first started listening to emo and pop punk in the 5th grade so that he had something to talk about with a, quote, really emo girl he had a crush on.
Nice.
And then there's a quote from the lawsuit. Upon information and belief based upon his current age, these initial events would have occurred in approximately 2006. Thus, upon information and belief, at the time the defendant Juice WRLD began studying the emo genre of music, Hollywood Died would have been recently released, the suit claims. And I looked this up because I was like, wait, didn't this guy die young?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was in 5th grade in 2006, that would mean he'd be around our age.
No, even younger. Yeah, he was even younger.
Yeah, and so he died when he was 21. He was born in 1998. So that's actually factually incorrect. He would have been in 5th grade in like, I don't know, 2013. Maybe
it's just not what they claimed it is, and
right, it was just factually wrong.
Okay, so
because that was like around our age would be we were like in 5th and 6th grade in like 2006, like exactly.
So they've not just sued Juice WRLD, not just Juice WRLD after he passed away, not just Juice WRLD's grieving mother, but 5th grader Juice WRLD, and not even the real one, just a fake version of the 5th grade Juice WRLD
that may or may not have listened to Yellowcard. Probably did not listen to Yellowcard because they were irrelevant at the time he was actually in 5th grade.
Yes. They had to make up their own timeline and all these hypotheticals. This was used in court?
I mean, it was the lawsuit they submitted.
Okay.
Like,
my goodness.
Yeah. And then I kind of, like, whenever you listen to it, I kind of only hear it in, like, the one line.
Yeah, see, I have a hard time with any claims of ripping off, like a musician ripping off another musician, because it's just so easy to find similarities in music, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's like the most blatant, you know, trying to pass a cover as your own song or something. Like I just don't get like the argument.
Sampling something and not, you know, like
crediting
it, or like, you know, doing an homage kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, what's up? This is the DeadEndRoad Show, episode 86. We got some fun stuff planned. We have some worst beats in the world, maybe courtesy of Yellowcard. Not really, but you know.
They're part of it in spirit.
Exactly. Yeah, they're the specter hanging behind. The ghost of Yellowcard has come back. It's like Palpatine has returned. I don't know. It's like, so that's the thing. So like they couldn't go through with the lawsuit, and so then they needed to come back and do Ocean Avenue again.
Oh, so it was going to be one or the other. They could either cash out on the famous rapper, or they have to just get the van ready and go back on tour.
Basically, yeah. So then they had to go on tour again and play Ocean Avenue. You know what's funny is that I actually thought that Ocean Avenue was about, I don't know why we're talking so much about Yellowcard, if we can move on after this, but was about like, because there's a street, Ocean Avenue, and there's probably an Ocean Avenue everywhere, but in like the Jersey Shore. But they're from Florida. So.
Of course. Of course they are.
Florida man sues deceased rapper.
There we go.
All right, we got some fun stuff. I don't know what the segment is anymore, but I'm just gonna hit the button. Mountains of Madness. Cool. This is a segment that's gonna age great in about a week, but I want to talk about all the Twitter replacements a little bit, as Twitter continues to. It's sinking kind of like the Titanic in that it's sort of a slow descent into the water.
See, even that reference is already outdated.
Well, no, here's the thing. The Titanic is a reference that'll never change. But if we start talking about the Titanic sub, then that's already dated. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's like if I start talking about like Lincoln getting shot, that's still golden, right? Something everybody knows. It's a touchstone. But yeah, so
it's weird that that's what comes to mind for you, but okay.
Okay, fine. So this week, the Zuckerberg, he came out with, he's got a new Twitter clone out, and they made it really easy to just jump ship from your Instagram profile to this Instagram Twitter thing.
I think that's one of the most simple but brilliant things I've seen a tech company do recently.
Oh, completely. You don't need another sign in. They separated it from Facebook, even though it's all the same fucking company, to give it that it's like, hey, this is still kind of cool factor that Instagram has that Facebook does not. It just moves your whole thing over, and then it's like, hey, all these people that you follow on Instagram, you can follow them all with one button tap. And just boom, there you go. Even if they're not on the platform yet. And when they are, you automatically follow them. It's like, it couldn't have been easier. And it also just sort of worked.
Yeah,
like,
within 10 seconds of signing up, I had a full feed of people that I follow and like. And it looked just like Twitter used to look. And it felt like a slightly off version of Twitter. Like the vibes were weird, if that makes sense.
Oh no, the vibes are very weird.
Yeah, people are still figuring out how to approach it, but it's like they solved, and obviously it's very easy to do this when you're Facebook and you're a giant tech company, but they solved the problem that all the other Twitter wannabe alternatives have faced, which is having that install base, that user base, because that's obviously what a social media platform relies on. And Twitter, everyone's so ingrained in that, even though it's been bad for so long now, it's hard to jump ship if not everyone is on board, but then everyone has Instagram. So
right. Everybody already has Instagram and they made it easy to transfer over. And so think about how badly Twitter has to be that everybody is clamoring to get onto a Facebook product.
It's incredible.
Meta, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it hasn't even been a year, has it?
Not quite, I don't think.
For Elon?
No, I think it's maybe like 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm still on Twitter, using it as sparingly as I can, and it's just getting more and more desolate. Like the people that I follow are posting less and less and less. Like as each day goes by, it's becoming a ghost town, like day by day. And the thing is that like people are already tired of making these alternative accounts. And so then you give them this and it's like, oh, this isn't even really another account.
Right.
Yeah. But it's got some problems already. They're apparently going to work on it. So like the issue is that it's basically just an Instagram feed, and the Instagram feed sucks because it's not chronological, and it just shows you random people that you don't follow. So like the ads or whatever, I don't even think there's ads on this thing yet. If there are, they're like stealth ads and you can't even tell. But it's just random people that are totally disconnected from whoever you're following. And it just really sucks. And so it sort of makes sense at the very beginning, whenever you may not be following a lot of people and you don't want your feed to be empty, to just kind of show you random accounts. Mm-hmm. Like that makes sense because you don't want the impression that this app is like already dead on arrival. But like immediately, since you could just transplant your Instagram followers, it's like, okay, well, we don't need this shit anymore. Can we have a chronological feed and see the people that we're actually following instead of like wannabe Instagram influencers posting inane shit like, do you guys like milkshakes? And like just like stupid shit like that. So like being able to actually curate the feed is like needed, and whoever the fuck is running it, it's not Zuckerberg, it's whoever the Instagram person is like, yeah, we're gonna have a chronological feed. It's like, okay, fine, good.
Yeah, that's huge.
And it's like it's so funny how like Facebook, Meta, whatever, can just like swoop in and just automatically win like that. Whenever there have been so many of these other fucking clones and whatever that were like dead on arrival because of like one thing or the other. But like, so my thing, and I said this to you before, like I was even on the like, I didn't even know the app was launching the day that we talked about it.
Yeah,
which is very funny that like that happened. That you actually need the companies and brands to get on the app. And everybody fucking like hates whenever brands do that cutesy tweeting shit, which is what's happening on this. And it is lame and it does suck. But you actually need them there because that gives legitimacy to it.
It does. And like we've said, they were already there because they're on Instagram anyway, even though
exactly.
Like the Instagram platform doesn't really work well for like, for example, NBC News or something like that. Like I followed them, but like it just the way like, you know, the way the Instagram feed is curated just doesn't lend itself very well to like breaking news and stuff like that. So hopefully in time, this is going to provide a more useful platform for like news outlets.
Right. And that was this is what I said to you, was that I need my sports shit on the Twitter replacement. And there was no way that the Pittsburgh Penguins were going to sign up for Mastodon.
Right.
It just was not going to happen. Or one of these other smaller niche sites that like, you know, some journalists were using, or like some influencers were hopping onto. There was just no way. It's not worth it to them. Whenever they can reach, you know, most of their audience still on Facebook or whatever and cling to Twitter. But again, they already had an Instagram. It was the same one button click for them too to make the account. So they were already there like as soon as I was. So it's like an auto win.
One of the first things I saw on my feed was a Pittsburgh Penguins signing that happened either last night or this morning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's and like that's what was missing from any, because I've tried them. I tried Mastodon. I tried what was the other one people were hopping on to?
Blue Sky?
And no. So that's the thing. So that was the one that looked the most promising because it was basically just old Twitter.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey, right?
Well, he's on the board. He didn't like do anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So the issue with Blue Sky is that it's invite only.
Yeah.
So nobody can get in.
They were shooting themselves in the foot.
Completely. And so maybe they're like their tech isn't ready. They can't scale it or whatever. Like they're not ready for an influx of users. But like you missed your chance. You completely missed your chance. Like it feels like it's game over.
It does. And I want to clarify. It's nice to have a Twitter replacement that functions and is useful for people. But this actually kind of sucks too, because Facebook winning here and just proving once again that the very select few big tech companies that, you know, at the top are just going to continue to control everything, and how difficult it is for startups to gain traction. Like that whole narrative and reality that we're living in just sucks. And this is a big example of it.
Yeah. This is why there have been calls to break up Facebook, just because of their dominance of, like, they have Facebook, which still has users, however active they are. Who knows? And they have Instagram, which is insanely popular. Then they have WhatsApp, which is like the biggest messaging app in the world, like the world over. It's very popular overseas, right? Like especially in like the Mideast and Asian countries, it's like insanely popular. So like, yeah, they do have a monopoly on like social interaction.
Yeah.
And, you know, they lost billions or whatever on their metaverse shit that they sort of had to quit just because it was floundering like catastrophically. But they also still have like the best standalone VR headset. And that is still such a niche market. Mm-hmm. But like anybody that wants to get into VR but doesn't want to go through the hassle of setting up a whole room of VR or doesn't have a computer still has to go get a fucking Meta Quest, whatever the fuck it's called. Their naming is so dog shit. But so yeah, they have their hands in so many different things. And now if they also have the best instant text microblogging platform, then it's like, okay, all right, you know, we should probably break this up.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I was signing up, I looked at like some of the things they threw at you right away very briefly. They use another, like you just mentioned, the metaverse. I hate that term so much. And they threw some other verse term out there, and they also mentioned Mastodon. I was not expecting to see the word Mastodon used like by Instagram. Yes. So I guess there's going to be some sort of integration down the road where you can like post between them or something. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. So it's called the Fediverse, which means is short for Federated Universe.
So I cringe every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So this shit is very complicated, and the average person is very confused by it and doesn't get it and won't understand it. And it's antithetical, and they probably won't end up implementing it, especially after they had a massive install base in a couple days.
Yeah, they're like, what do we care about Mastodon now? We don't need that.
Why would we bother with Mastodon? And Blue Sky is actually the same, where they are talking about this interoperability. The thing is that Facebook has never played nice with anybody else. Right. Why would they suddenly start now? It's like weird lip service. But basically, they're running on protocols in the back end that are kind of the same as Mastodon. I forget what it's called. It's like it's not content delivery. It's something like that though, where you can basically follow people on Mastodon, or there's actually a like version of Instagram, but it's Mastodon. And you could sort of have this interoperability. It doesn't work very well though, because just in the way that Mastodon doesn't work very well, where you sign up for a specific server and then you can follow people that are on other servers, but in order to do so, you need to know their specific name and the name on their server, and then copy and paste that into your own, and that's how you follow people that are not on your server.
That's already too complicated for me.
It's already too complicated. And this is why everybody was trying to get onto the main Mastodon server, because you can then just follow everybody else that's on there with a click. But there are like follow caps and all kinds of bullshit there. So you can technically follow people so basically, this is my understanding of it. And again, I could be completely wrong because it's way too complicated, is that so like Blue Sky is sort of its own server. And that's why you'll see somebody's address. If you look at somebody like when they're posting, like, hey, I got into Blue Sky, here's where you could follow me. It'll be like, John Smith at bluesky.social. Mm-hmm. That's their federated like address, basically. And so whenever it opens up, which it's not yet, and whenever they like turn on Federation, then you could follow them on Mastodon.
I see.
Also. It's way too complicated. Nobody's going to do it.
Yeah, this
Nobody
understands it. This is like the exact opposite of what we were just talking about, how they seamlessly got everyone onto the thread.
Right. That's why a lot of people were surprised. Yeah, a lot of people were surprised whenever they included that. They're like, oh, are they actually, like, the people that understand what that means are like, oh, are they actually going to do that? They're probably not going to do that.
I think maybe you're right in that part of their consideration there was like, if this wasn't as popular right off the jump, maybe they could spin that into like a reason for people to sign up. Yeah,
or to like potentially poach people away from Mastodon.
Yeah,
by being a less janky version.
Yeah,
but like I don't know. Like it's if they turn that on, it's a feature that nobody's going to use.
Sure.
Nobody's going to use it. It's too damn complicated. It doesn't make any sense. Like, people just understand it as a social media network. Like, you sign up for, what's it called again? I was going to say Hinge, but that's not it.
That's a dating app.
Threads, that's what it is.
Oh, the thing we've been talking about. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Because I just call it Instagram, Twitter. So, like, people just understand you sign up for Threads, you have a Threads account, you follow people on Threads. They don't know anything about Mastodon. They don't know anything about Federation. They don't know anything about all this weird, like, insular communities that could be interconnected with different servers and moderators and all kinds of weird-ass shit. They don't understand it. They're not going to do it. It's not happening. So,
you know what I think is cool about this platform is if you want to ask someone how many followers they have, you could just be like, hey, what's your thread count?
Oh my God.
Like that just sounds cool.
Does it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because then you're like a pillowcase.
Mm-hmm. But like a high quality one.
Right.
Assuming you have followers.
Sure. It's funny that they're calling it thread or threads or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, is it plural? Because I was calling it thread. I think it is threads.
I think it's threads.
Yeah.
Their actual threading is bad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because like in your feed, you'll also just see like people that you follow replying to other people.
Sure.
And in the context of just seeing individual posts, it looks terrible because you can't like see the conversation properly because it'll only show you that one reply that they're replying to.
Right.
So it's bad. They just got to sort out the main feed basically, and then I think it'll actually be usable. But yeah, it does suck like actively using a meta platform again, because I really don't use Instagram, even though I had the account. Like I looked and I don't even have it installed on my phone anymore. The other thing is that they don't have a web client.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody will post their link on a decaying social platform like Twitter to be like, hey, follow me here, and you click on it and it doesn't open on a browser.
That's not ideal.
No, it really isn't. Because even Instagram, as shit as it is, kind of works on a web page. So they need to sort that out as well, because I will not just exclusively use a mobile app for that kind of thing.
Now, there was no like beta testing period for this, right? Like nobody had access to this until like 2 days ago when it launched.
That's my understanding. Yeah,
that's like such an unusual thing, isn't it? For everyone to be kind of discovering a platform like that all at once.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And again, it only works if you're one of the top like 3 tech companies in the world.
Right, because like this sort of happened with, what was the other one? I can't even remember what it was. Oh, Hive. Everybody was jumping on that for like a couple days. Then everybody realized it was sort of shit, and they were too small of a team. They couldn't handle the influx. And so then everybody dropped it. Nobody was posting on it.
Remember Clubhouse?
Yeah, see, I never understood what that was. It was like Twitter Spaces, but like invites.
Clubhouse?
Yeah.
No. Well, Twitter Spaces was their answer to Clubhouse, because that was supposed to be like the next best thing. So I think Clubhouse came first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a audio, like live audio platform you could broadcast, and you could bring other people on, like live podcasting essentially. Although a bit more like fluid than that, like people could jump in and out and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt very much like a pandemic trend, which it was.
Definitely. Yeah. It also, I heard something about like people were just like starting cults on it, because there's just like a bunch of like people trying to be gurus, just like sort of talking to a flock.
Oh, sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a good platform for that.
Yeah.
If it existed.
That's basically what Twitter Spaces are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit's weird.
Remember Quibi?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do remember Quibi. Remember websites? We used to have websites.
No, not really.
We used to go on them and like click around and like find information.
Sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Oh boy. I wanted to squeeze in a reminder like towards the beginning of the show here. So we're doing the horror book club. I don't have a better name for it yet. But if anybody has some suggestions, I'd really appreciate it, because I really got nothing. We're discussing Paul Tremblay's The Pallbearers Club, and that will go live on July 26th if you would like to read along with us.
Oh, I've got to speed up my reading a little bit.
Me too. Let me tell you. Me too. But yeah, I just want to get that in at the early part of the show, because who knows how long people actually listen to these. So
that's true. And maybe we can call that date tentative. I think we'll hit it, but we'll hit it. It'll be good. But yeah, I gotta pick up the pace.
Yeah. I remember you wanted that to be earlier, so.
That's true.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Should we do something fun?
Compare like this wasn't already?
But should we do something really fun?
I mean, yeah, that's the goal, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. Let's do some worst beats in the world.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? Holy shit, this is my garbage. Yeah. But I can't stop listening. Yeah. This song is a war crime. If you're listening to this song, you are shadow cursed for eternity. Have severe depression. You're in the right place for shitty music.
Fantastic.
Very nice. Well done.
Shoutouts to DJ Smokey. Oh God. What do we want to start with here? Because we got a bunch of stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this was kind of your segment this week, and I added some stuff on top of it. So if you want to do yours,
yeah. I mean, I think it should be very like free form. Because I don't know. Like, I didn't even pick out like specifics of our boy here. Because there's too much. Honestly,
it's a gold mine.
It really is. But I thought maybe we would give some props to the person that sort of named this segment, Distant Cry, who has his series, The Worst Beats Ever Created, checking out his latest. So I thought we could maybe do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go for that. This is Worst Beat Ever Created, number 29. Very cinematic. You know, it's actually not that bad.
It makes me very uneasy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does. Oh.
I don't think it's that bad. Okay, all right. Okay.
See, I was not expecting that turn there.
No. I didn't think it was that bad until you bring in the whistle.
The intentionally off, out of tune whistle, like hitting the wrong notes at every like fifth note is incorrect.
Yeah. Man. But I think the star of this week is gonna be Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Who you turned me on to here.
Yeah, that was a weird night.
You had been drinking, and then you were like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Miles?"
It was even the vibe was even weirder because I was certainly drinking. I was also spiraling over a Bumble conversation, so that's happening on one side of the room, and then I also introduced you to this wonderful rapper, and so you're just going through like his whole catalog while I'm just like losing my mind.
Yeah, like
5 beers in, I can't even remember. Which that's a lot for me, by the way.
Yeah. I don't even know what to start with.
I think we have whatever you select, you have to end with the one that he put out last week because it's a legitimate like top 40 hit, and I'm so proud of how far he's come as an artist.
Okay. All right. Then should we start with something older then?
Sure.
Like, okay. The Cookout? I don't think I've heard that one.
Oh, I don't know if I've heard this one either.
Okay, well then this is Miles, The Cookout.
My family about to have a cookout, but I'm not invited. Cause last time I went, we all left with bed bugs. I remember how they got it, everybody gave me a hug. They say, what's that on your shirt? I said, oh, it's just a bug. They didn't know that I just gave their ass bed bugs. Cut the bottom of my brother's shoes off, now he walking on ground. Went online, used my mama card and bought a car. Grandma looking like she mad, I think she remember how I ran off. I remember when somebody sold my granddad $4,500 in coffee. It was me, but don't you tell my grandma, she gonna get mad. I remember when me and the eye doctor got off on my grandma. We sold her a pair of reading glasses, she thought they was prescription. Made my mama shoes pointy so she could fall and trip. Pulled up to the cookout and I smelled like shit. Last time I went to the cookout, I left with all the food. Niggas not taking shit from me, nigga, you gonna have to fight. My family about to have a cookout, but I'm not invited. Cause last time I went, we all left with bed bugs. I remember how they got it, everybody gave me a hug. They say, what's that on your shirt? I said, oh, it's just a bug. They didn't know that I just gave their ass bed bugs. Cut the bottom of my brother's shoes off, now he walking on ground. I just got off on my mama and gave her a dog. Grandma looking like she mad, I think she remember how I ran off on her.
I gotta say, this was a good one.
This was really good. It's like another one of his diss tracks.
Yeah.
And I just love the level of detail, how specific all the scenarios are. Like he really lays it all out there, you know? I would be afraid to be in his family because anything that happens, you know, it's bound to end up in one of these songs.
Yeah.
Even if it's completely fabricated.
Sure. How about this one's topical. How about Indiana Jones?
Oh, terrific.
Okay. This is Miles, Indiana Jones.
Classic. I saw a TikTok where this was set to the trailer for the new movie.
Sure.
Bitch, I'm in the field, nigga call me Indiana Jones. Feel like Soldier Boy today, so kiss me through the phone. Feel like Usher yesterday in the shower, bitch, I was burning. This nigga really think he in Indiana, he not Indiana Jones. This nigga thought he bought a Beagle, that nigga bought a dog. Tried to fit in a skinny hole while my dumb ass get stuck. Tried to buy a BMW, but I just bought a random truck. She keep calling my phone, I'm like, damn girl, what the fuck? Stop going to Taco Bell, why the fuck they had my stomach hurting? This girl asked for her number, I bought her a Birkin. My mama mad because she had home, her pockets hurting. If you don't give up on rapping, I swear one day it's gonna work, man.
And this is where you start to see the style emerge.
It's true. Very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you hear it, you know who you're listening to.
Yeah.
And that's rare. Like, that's a rarity in today's music landscape.
Yeah. And now, so we talked about his family a little bit, and he's got a brother, right? So let's listen to one where his brother's on. This is you know, Miles.
Okay.
What?
We shouldn't. I don't know.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is, you know, Miles.
This is where he starts to lose. This is where he starts to lose me a little bit. Is with some of the features. With some of the features. Yeah.
Okay. This is Boost Mobile featuring You Know Mar.
Let's go, Ivy.
Coach put me in the game, I'm finna show you how to shoot. My brother say he got Verizon, he got Boost Mobile. They made fun of me in school cause I had bifocal. My brother say he got Verizon, he got Boost Mobile. I just got a new job, I'm at the Walmart shopping center. Why the fuck I start beef with my dad, he got a Desert Eagle. Tried to reach for the stars, but I wasn't tall enough. I'm balling for my whole family, I'm getting us out the hood. I tried to live in the forest, but I couldn't do the woods. I pulled down my fucking pants, I had a hairy bush. I feel like Mr. fucking Krabs, I'm getting to the money. Niggas laughing at me, nigga, what's funny? She say, what size are you? I got a triple shrimp. What's smacking against your wall? It's the whale penis. I gotta get to the money, I be focused. Girl, I gotta get the money, I be on it. Girl, you tryna play me like a phony. Girl, you know I'm just trying to get this money. Girl, you know I'm tryna get it while you focus. Girl, you know you tryna hit when you're cloning. Girl, you tryna play me like a phony. Girl, you know I'm tryna go and get this money.
Bro, take off that dress, you look dead as hell. Niggas think that I'm joking, I ain't Dave Chappelle. Bro, stay here, demon, I told him go to hell. Niggas talking shit, like nigga, what's that smell? I always run up for my family. I always run up for my family.
See, we did get Yellowcard on.
I know they did not stand me.
I smell a lawsuit.
Oh, man.
Did you hear? It's another recent one, NBA 2K23.
I haven't. No.
Oh, you gotta hear that.
Okay. All right. And then I think we'll do 3 more. We'll do that one other, and then the other new one.
Okay.
All right. So NBA 2K3.
I'm getting money like NBA 2K23. I'm counting cash like NBA 2K223. Bitch, you know I'm ballin', you can't stop me. Tell them to catch me on NBA 2K23. I ain't selling toe, but watch me. She say she coming over, she gon' fuck me. I don't even think that she want me. She only want me cause 2K23. Tell them add me on 2K23. I'm trying to get friends on 2K23. I just beat some niggas on 2K23. I can't wait till they come out with 2K24. I'ma be a GOAT on 2K24. I'm trying to get this cash on 2K24. Feel like Elsa, bitch, let us know. But I'm trying to play 2K23. I'm getting money like NBA 2K23. I'm counting cash like NBA 2K223. Bitch, you know I'm ballin', you can't stop me. Tell them to catch me on NBA 2K23. I ain't selling toe, but watch me. She say she coming over, she gon' fuck me. I don't even think that she want me. She only want me cause 2K23.
This is an ad or is it a different song?
Wait, this is what's going on?
Man, I'm with your girl, man. I'm finna get my.
This is the new one. This is the top 40 hit.
Okay, he put it at the end. He said drops this Friday.
That's sneaky. That's sneaky. I think he's such a forward thinker. Because like this song here, NBA 2K23, it's future proof. It's got longevity because he's got an entire verse about 2K24.
Sure. It's good for 2 years.
It's good for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 whole video game cycles.
The way he says, fuck me.
It's great.
All right. So we
got a little preview of the new track, but that's okay. We'll get there.
We have to hear Hong Kong and then we'll play the new one.
Okay.
All right.
Niggas say I'm out of town, I'm in Hong Kong. I'm just trying to get this cash in Hong Kong. I don't care about fight, I'm in Hong Kong. Nigga coming looking for me, I'm in Hong Kong. I just went to the store and got a honey bun. My mama just called, said you got some money, son. I forgot what time it is, I'm in Hong Kong. If they looking for me, tell them that I'm long gone. I be in the booth freestyling all the shit. say where your keys go, I stole the shit. Could've went pro, I ain't have to be a rapper. I see a ghost, bitch, I think I see Casper. Growing up, bitch, I wanted to be an actor. Now a nigga out here being a rapper. Not a turtle, but bitch, I'm a snapper. Feel like a raptor. Niggas say I'm out of town, I'm in Hong Kong. I'm just trying to get this cash in Hong Kong. I don't care about fight, I'm in Hong Kong. Nigga coming looking for me, I'm in Hong Kong. I just went to the store and got a honey bun. My mama just called, said you got some money, son. I forgot what time it is, I'm in Hong Kong. If they looking for me, tell them that I'm long gone.
There's a comment here. It says, can we appreciate how Miles always disappoints us?
Well, I beg to differ.
Yeah. All right. So this is the new track. This is a week ago. Party All Night.
Mm-hmm. It's going for the Grammy.
Is this baby?
Let's party all night. Let's go all night. 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 Man, I'm with your girl, man. I'm finna get my roll on. She blowing up my phone like, damn, turn your phone on. Last Halloween, a nigga thought I was frozen. In another Larry, not from the same ozone. Where your rollie at? Somebody said put your rollie on. Your rollie off your wrist, now you know that your rollie gone. Told the hood one day a nigga gon' be gone. She wanna party all night, hit her with the come on. Come on. We can party all night, bro, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no problem to me. Let's party all night. Let's go all night. Let's party all night. Let's go all night. Let's party all night. Let's go all night. Let's party all night. Let's go all night.
I'm gonna say it right now. That's the song of the summer.
Song of the summer. See, he was playing the long game here because you build a following by doing the funny, tongue-in-cheek, parody type thing. And it's all like all that stuff is very funny and smart and like it's good. But it's like then you hit him with this.
Yeah.
Then you hit him with this and the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
My top three rappers. Okay, number one.
You can tell before.
No.
Hold on.
No.
Okay.
Number one, Drake.
Okay.
Number two, Kid Cudi. Number three, Miles.
Okay. Look at that. Because you could tell, even in the other songs, he would have like one line that was like, okay, that's actually, yeah, you got something there.
Jesus.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, come on, more than one line.
No, there'd be one like standout line, when he's not doing the falsetto thing.
Right.
So you got some stuff here.
I do. So yeah, this first one here, Drew Gunby is a TikToker who I follow. I remember, I think I came across him after he was featured on Fox News against his will. They took a clip from one of his TikTok videos where he was talking about like mental health and like drugs and like something like legitimately, serious. But with it being Fox News, they had their own agenda about how like the internet is like ruining children or something. I don't know. But anyway, so he kind of went viral for that. I think he's a good follow. He's quite funny and insightful and just has a good personality. But I've been a little bit alarmed of late because some of his most recent videos consist of him in his car with a laptop open, GarageBand on the screen. And so he's showing off some of these mashups that he's been making, and it screams cry for help. I don't know the circumstances. Maybe there's been like a particularly tough breakup that has caused him to go down this road, but he's making these mashups, and to be honest, they're quite skillful. Like they're really brilliant. So this is one example of them.
Okay.
So this is him. This is what he made on like GarageBand.
It's magic. It's Britney, bitch.
Severe mental issues.
Everybody hurt. Sometimes. I love you. You love. 50 shades of purple.
step, I see Virgo, purple, nurple, raise her vocals. I fucking hate. Because I got a pocket full of
Is it a mashup or just kind of putting songs together with a transition in between them?
I think it's more of like it's supposed to be like a stream of consciousness, like putting the pieces together where they sort of make sense, like lyrically or whatever. They flow that way, but it comes out. Well, some of them do. Some of them do. I think some of his other ones, especially, there's like a through line to them, and he kind of like makes I don't know.
It just kind of seemed like he put some songs together with a transition in between them.
Well, you're not really listening then, are you? Because there's...
Yeah, I am, because that's exactly what I did to make the intro for this fucking segment.
Well, okay. I mean, I didn't know you were going to shit on my contributions here.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you said it was like a mashup, and it's like...
Well, maybe I used the wrong terminology.
I don't think that's what that is.
What is a mashup?
A mashup is like whenever you kind of put two songs that could conceivably be like at the same tempo or like melody or whatever, and it's like, oh shit, these are kind of the same
vibe. So that's
vibe.
that's not what this is.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, to be honest with you.
It's a cry for help.
It might be. It might be.
I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope he will be all right in the near future.
Mm-hmm. You just have like the 3 Days Grace jump scare in there, you know?
Oh yeah. But no, the lyrics do kind of play off of one another. That's the whole point of it. Anyway,
okay.
A rapper, Lil Tecca, very popular. I don't know if you might have seen those YouTube videos. I think it's called like Genius, where they will interview.
I hate those.
I know, I hate them too. This is like a highlight though. So the point of those is like you are being interviewed as an artist, and you kind of go through a song and you explain the meaning behind it. And so Lil Tecca is doing that here, and he clarifies a few things for us.
Okay, man, the TikTok autoplay. Okay.
Crashed a Rari, so I hopped in the Benz. I don't even drive. I don't even know how to drive. I got bands when I'm flying to France, drinking till a nigga land. I never went to France. I got a pack, hit him and do it again. I'm fucking a friend. I have a girlfriend. I don't have no young ladies. Don't DM me. I got 2 twin Glocks, turn you to a dancer. I don't have no straps for nobody. She know I got the funny Prado when I hit Milan. No, I've never been to Europe or nothing. I got lots of shorties trying to pull it to my place. I don't do like multiple girls, you feel me? Like, I'd rather just like one. You ain't want me last year, so just get up on my face. They ain't want me 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
I almost respect his music even more now.
Sure.
Because I feel like there's I don't know, in certain, there's like a certain mentality when it comes to rap lyrics where you have to be like, there's an embellishment, right? And that's fine, but it's like, he's honest.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw a clip of an interview with another who's a rapper
that's does not I couldn't say
it's popular, but like as like one of the cool ones, like one of the like maybe like not like older, but like sort of like been around for a while.
Still doesn't narrow it down.
Vince Staples, is that somebody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very good.
Okay, yeah, so I think it was him. I
put him right. I put him at number 4, right after Unimon.
Okay, there you go. Exactly. And so it was somebody saying to him, like, he's like, yeah, so like, do you have parties at your house? He's like, no, nobody knows where I live. I don't want anybody to know where I live. And he's like, well, what about like your mom or like whatever, or like girls? I was like, no, nobody comes to my place. I don't want anybody. Anybody to know where I live. Like, yeah, or something, or maybe it was like only his mom knows where he lives or something like that. And he's like, I don't want anybody to know where I live. He's like, what about holidays? He's like, what do I need to see you on a holiday for? It was just like this really funny clip.
That's really good.
I think it was him. I could be completely wrong, but I think it was him.
Okay.
But that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, so this last one, you know how they like people will interview someone on the street or whatever and ask them what they're listening to.
Yeah.
This one stood out, and you'll see why.
Okay.
What song are you currently listening to?
It's an Austrian polka song. It's called Shy. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but Shy Why Durvi Die.
Can you sing it for us?
Yeah. Oh, it goes Shy Why Durvi Die. Austrian Die. That's completely wrong, but that's my kind of gist of it.
And do you know what those words mean or no?
Not at all, but on YouTube in the music video, they have a cow that comes out. They all wear like lederhosen, and I think that's right. And they have like a violin, and it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit different from what you usually get out of those types of videos.
Yeah.
I like the earnestness behind his answer. He's obviously very into it, and he's not ashamed.
Yeah, I won't name names, but it reminds me of somebody we went to high school with.
Oh, interesting. You'll have to tell me afterwards. I'm curious.
Yeah. I got one more.
Oh, surprise.
To end the segment. I'm not sure who this is by because it's been sort of like re-uploaded so many times. So I think it's maybe Chosen, I think maybe is who made this.
Okay.
But I also understand if they don't want anybody to know that they made it.
Okay.
So
just like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't want anybody to know where I live. I don't want anybody to know that I made this. Yeah. All right.
Damn. She was writing and started farting. I was just like, what the fuck? Is you farting? She said, nah, bitch. Why you lying? Then I seen drops coming out her ass. Damn, she farted on my dick. Damn, then she shit it. Damn, that's a combo. Killing shit, bitch, call me Rambo. Bitch nasty, why she shit up on my dick? Bitch nasty, with a nasty clip. Damn, now I got a nasty dick. Damn. Bitch was riding and she farted. Came to the party and she looked good.
You know what's funny?
Got to the room and she looked good.
Sure, yes.
She pulled down her pants
It's over
and
top
I was
of
like,
a Call of Duty trick shot compilation.
Damn.
Of course it is.
You ugly. Damn.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's A+.
Ugly. All I seen was her from behind. The ass was so big, yeah, it caught my eyes. But damn, she farted on my dick. Damn, she shitted on my shit. Man, that's some fucked up shit. Man, she farted on my dick.
Okay.
Oh, so there's a reason you hid that one from the show notes.
I didn't want to type in the word she shit on my dick.
Oh, it's horrific.
Okay. Oh, my stomach hurts.
I would own that, honestly. Whoever that was, I would own it. It's very good.
Yeah, I looked. I tried to find. I wanted to give proper credit.
Of course.
Oh, God. So if you know or you have some other choice songs for us, video at DeadEndRoad.co.
Oh, I'd love to hear them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Next up, we have probably a very long Moogle. We might have to split these episodes. Great. Yeah, I want to talk about Final Fantasy XVI because I've been playing it, and I want to talk about it. So I want to talk about it, and I will try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. I don't really have much to say about the story anyway because I haven't finished the game yet. I think I'm about 70% of the way through. I have just like a little bit left. I think. And it's really tough at this point to kind of stay like completely spoiler free, at least on the spheres that I'm in. Just because, oh man, people just like posting shit from like late game, and it's like, what the fuck? That's not even. But yeah, so
yeah, that's not right.
But I will probably be talking about like gameplay mechanics that don't show up until later. So if people are kind of wary of that, then here's my disclaimer at the top.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm sort of more interested in talking about, I don't know, it's going to sound pretentious, but like sort of like the meta context of this game and where it sits and sort of like the discourse surrounding it. But to begin with, this is completely, absolutely 1000% a game made by Creative Business Unit 3.
Which, by the way, that is quite a name. I wasn't aware that was the name of, like, is that the studio or?
That is the team within Square Enix that makes Final Fantasy XIV and now Final Fantasy XVI.
Do you have any idea the origins of that name?
I think that's just how they split up their teams. Like there's Unit 1, Unit 2, and so they just give it the name Creative Business Unit. I think that's literally it.
Okay, very practical. I respect it. I respect it.
I think that's it. Yeah. So like whenever they will like either like own a different studio, because like they owned like Eidos for a while, like they like remained Eidos, you know. But like the teams within Square Enix, like proper, I think are under that sort of moniker. So yeah, Unit 3 is the team that makes Final Fantasy 14 and 16. But this is, I've talked a lot about how they've sort of made Final Fantasy 14 into more and more of a single player game. And then they've talked about this openly where they're trying to make that game single player friendly. This is almost like that vision for them realized, like completely. And it sort of makes me wonder, like, sort of why they're doing this to 14 whenever they already had this game coming out. It's like, why do both?
Yeah.
Why do like the same approach to both games? It is absolutely a game that they made from like the way that any kind of like player friction or player like discomfort has been sanded away.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where you will never, ever get lost. You will never worry about where you have to go.
This is the ideal for me.
Yeah, because most of the time you just have to go forward. And even if there's any kind of pathing or whatever, they put little gumdrops for you to go. And so you don't get lost on a singular path that doesn't have any deviations to it.
I need my hand to be held.
Your hand is being held the entire way through.
It's
and
perfect.
They want you to experience the story. This is a story-driven game. Much in the same way that Final Fantasy XIV is. They're delivered in a totally different package. Final Fantasy XIV, you're reading text upon text upon text. Here, you're basically watching a TV show. You're basically watching Game of Thrones unfold in front of you. Because they said there's about 10 hours worth of cutscenes in Final Fantasy XVI. And it's a 10-hour series. It's a 10-episode series, basically. And so, yeah, your hand is being held the entire way. There's pretty much no optional content. And what I mean by that is there are side quests in the game, but the side quests in the game are so odd in the way that they are presented and paced. Because early on, you will get some like sort of tutorialized cutscene or tutorialized side quests, basically being like, "Hey, these are some side quests that you can do." They're very basic. They're basically quests that are ripped straight from Final Fantasy XIV. Of go here, deliver this to a person. Go here, pick up this thing, and bring it back. Just very basic side quests, and the rewards that they give you for those are pitiful. So you're basically like, oh, well, that was kind of a waste of time. I'm probably not going to do side quests. The issue is then they will later, and I'm talking maybe like 15 hours later, introduce quests that give you new gameplay mechanics, new abilities, new upgrades, or even just better rewards that are actually worth doing.
Interesting.
But they've now taught you that side quests are kind of shit. So you're already predisposed to not do them. And this is kind of the opposite of how they usually work their tutorialization. So the side quests are weird because they give like, I wouldn't say character moments, but I would say they give a lot of like world flavor. They're also still really boring. They're not very fun to do, but the rewards that you get after those first few like really shitty ones are actually worth doing. And another problem with them is that you like whenever you pick up a side quest, it'll basically tell you how much like how much gil, how much money you're going to get for doing the side quest. And that's kind of it. And so you'll pick up a quest and you'll be like, oh, this isn't going to give me anything. I shouldn't prioritize this. But that's not actually the real reward. Because you might not get a lot of money, but you will almost be guaranteed to get an item that you can just sell immediately for money.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also get XP or, more importantly, skill point rewards. And those are not listed whenever you pick up the quest. You won't know that until you complete the quest. And I think this is a very bad system. Basically, everything like disincentivizes you from doing the side quests until you realize that you actually need to do them. If you're like me and you want to like sort of fill out your skill tree and sort of customize it the way you want to, What they do with the side quests is the ones that will actually give you some kind of meaningful, like, game, not, I struggle to say game changing, but yeah, to an extent, like game changing upgrade are marked with a gigantic plus icon.
Okay.
Basically the same way that they are in Final Fantasy XIV. And so those are the ones that you sort of have to do. Like, they're not mandatory. You can go the entire game without doing them, but you should probably do them. But it's kind of weird how they sort of transplanted the questing system from Final Fantasy XIV into this game. When you're doing those, it does feel like a single player MMO where you're going through and doing these things. The only difference being is that every single side quest is fully voiced, where they're definitely not in 14.
And the voice acting from what I've played so far is phenomenal.
The production value of this game is
goodness.
through the roof.
I honestly have not seen a game that has looked this good in terms of like visual spectacle and the art and just everything that they're throwing at you. It's just so stunning and engaging. And I couldn't say enough good things about, like you said, the production value of all of it, every aspect of it. Yeah,
the presentation, the production value it's incredible. And a lot of this boils down to the writing. So you can tell by looking at the credits, this is the localization team, the head of localization from the Final Fantasy XIV team that stepped away from 14 in order to work on 16. And we've known that for a very long time now. And they have done wonders with this game. So localization is basically another form of writing. It's not just translating.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you're doing sort of like medieval game like this, like very medieval inspired like this game is, and they've talked about how it's medieval inspired for better or worse for certain contexts, that's going to be drastically different depending on whatever language you're actually writing your finished product in. So a medieval or like feudal style Japanese language is going to be very different than what that ends up like looking like for an English translation and then localization. And so not only are you translating that original script, you are also rewriting it in order for it to make sense for like this antiquated kind of speech, and also making it entertaining and not like a slog to listen to.
Yeah, what a balance that is.
Yeah. And so the big comparison I can make is that there is a character in 14 who his gimmick is that he basically talks in like Elizabethan English, and he's the only one who does, and it's sort of his thing. So he says like, "Oh, thou shouldst go to thine, chamber," and like shit like that. And he's the only one that talks like that. And so like he has to have specific, localization for it to be like that. And so that is like the same work that has to be done on this script here too. And the script is very good. This is like compared to basically any other Final Fantasy game where you're just being thrown like fucking proper nouns and places of locations and systems and shit that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Here, you're in it, you're immediate, you're with your characters, they're interacting, they're talking like humans, all in the set dressing and language of like this formalized speech.
And if you need like the lore and stuff, you can just hit a button at any time and it'll bring up this like menu of like, it's called like active lore or something, and you can just click around and look at various things like context for characters and locations and situations, which is really helpful too, because that it doesn't get bogged down by the dialogue, but if you need that stuff, it's there.
It's a fantastic system, and it's so like if people haven't seen it, it's basically like the Amazon Prime X-ray like thing.
Yes, it is. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, or like you can just pause and then look and see like what the actor is that's on screen right now, or like a little bit of trivia about the thing. So like here, like if you're in a cutscene, you can pause and hit the button and it'll be like, oh, who is this guy again? And then you can do that whole thing. So like if you're unsure or you missed something, or like you haven't played the game for like a couple weeks and you could just sort of refresh yourself, they introduce a system later on that is basically an entire timeline of the game up to the point that you're at that will show you it's actually kind of overwhelming. It's more overwhelming than the game's actual story is. That'll show you the relationship between Clive, the main character, and all of the other, like how he interacts with every single other character in the game and like what their relationships are. And how that changes depending on like what chapter you were in, basically. It's actually like I tried to like look at it and I was like, this is actually more complicated than this game's story is. And I was like, all these features are great. These are great systems. Like I haven't really seen a game done this. Normally, like there's like some kind of like compendium or like, you know, codexes that like sort of like just list a name of characters. And this is what Final Fantasy XIV does too, where it's just like a list of characters and shit like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is fine, but it doesn't really like give that sort of immediacy to like key terms and people and whatever. But I honestly don't think this game needs it. Like this is the kind of game that needs it the least, especially compared to other Final Fantasy games, just based off of how strong the writing is and how digestible the story is.
Yeah, I think of it like when I'm playing this game, from everything from the writing to how straightforward all the mechanics and it's, you know, everything is streamlined and simplified. There's no friction. I just compare it to like reading an author who has a very like sparse writing style, but within that writing style it's so easy to read, but it's also great, right? Like it says a lot with fewer words, and that's just kind of what this game is doing as a whole in like all the areas. And I really appreciate that. Like
I'm so used to RPGs and Final Fantasy games in particular, where you just get massive information dumps just thrown at you, and this game completely avoids it. You're in the story, you're in the action. There are no pauses to just be like, well, this is the Phoenix and these are the icons and this is how you got your powers and this is this and this is that. This is the kingdom. And it's like, yeah, that's all fine. It's like, it's all there, but it's not what you need to know. You just need to know the relationships between these characters, how they're interacting, how the story is moving forward. And it's not even moving at like a breakneck pace. This is still a massive, meaty game. And it's not even like rushing you from set piece to set piece either. Like you still get plenty of time with these characters. And it's quite tremendous what they've done in that aspect. It's like, well, goddamn, why can't all sort of Final Fantasy games have been like this? Like, I think back to like just the stupid lore dumps and nonsensical stories of like Final Fantasy XII. And I say this every time, but 10, even though people love that game, just the absolute nonsense. It's like, well, now we have to go fight Sin, who was your father and who now has to do the summoning rite. And in order to this, we have to Xanarkand. And it's like, what are you talking about? What is any of this? Meanwhile, this story is just like, boom, very simple. I'm on this quest for revenge. It's like, okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, it's hitting a lot of, at least, especially early on, it's hitting a lot of familiar story beats, especially in that like Game of Thrones-esque fantasy style. Like none of if it's shocking in content, but not in like the storytelling approach. But it's, you know, you see those a lot because they're effective, right? Like these work, like the stuff that they're doing and the stuff that's happening to these characters. It's very smart. It's very smart.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could say that like the main character is like, this is the thought that like kept entering my head. He's like, oh, this is like he's like Jon Snow, but if Jon Snow had a personality, like if Jon Snow was actually like a character.
I mean, I wouldn't. That's a bit of a unnecessary knock at Jon Snow, but I know what you're saying though.
But like you know what I mean? Like he's that sort of archetype where like this has been thrust upon him, you know?
Yeah.
Like and also like the way he looks, you know? Like it's like
yeah.
And there are some like similar characters, like they have like a Hodor who shows up, like, you know, like they've clearly taken like direct inspiration. But the story is like drastically different. But like at the same time, like whenever you get to the map, you know, like there are like to show each kingdom, there are the little pieces that it basically looks like the opening to Game of Thrones. They're not like that same sort of like music box toy aesthetic, but it's pretty damn close.
And to be fair, Game of Thrones did not invent this type of fantasy either. So
no, not at all.
But it is definitely heavily influenced.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not by Game of Thrones directly, then at least by the popularity of Game of Thrones and sort of the cultural significance of it.
Right. And you could even say that The Witcher, like, like this darker kind of fantasy. But at the same time, it's not like gritty for grittiness sake. And this isn't like a world where just like everything's gone to shit. And so like everybody's shitty because of it, that you often see with like sort of grimdark kind of things.
Right.
And I feel like this is also something that is being misunderstood. Like the story is basically like, as it gets farther on, it's like, this is a world that has gone to shit, but everybody is still like doing their best. At least like like your allies, like everybody's like fucking trying.
So it's not like nihilism.
No, it's not. It's really not. It's probably the opposite. It still has that sort of like Final Fantasy optimism to it.
And if you've only played the first handful of hours like I have, that might sound unconvincing because there's a whole lot of trauma that happens, especially towards the main character. But all of it feels like there's purpose behind it. The trauma has meaning. There's significance to the character and the story and how events unfold later on. I can already see that. So it does feel very thoughtful in that way.
It's so easy to like sort of be in this grimdark setting and then just like turn your thing into torture porn.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And this does not do that. It really doesn't. It's easy to just sort of like you throw a rock at your character and then you kind of get a taste for blood and you keep throwing rocks at them. And there's a lot of fucking challenges, that you got to overcome. But it's like, okay, we can fucking do this rather than like, damn, this sucks, sort of burn everything down.
The Last of Us Part 2 comes to mind.
Exactly. So like a lot of people were like concerned. It's like, oh, this is going to be dark. This is going to be nihilistic. This is going to lose that sort of Final Fantasy hope and optimism and like Band of Heroes thing. And it still has that. It still has it.
I'd say it even amplifies those moments because there's early on, like there's a lot of really dark stuff that happens, but then there's beauty within those scenes as well. And I feel like the contrast brings out sort of that, what you would expect from those moments, those like really like sincere, quiet, just beautiful moments that you would get in Final Fantasy from from what I've experienced at least, but it's contrasted with some really heavy stuff. And I think it just makes it more effective in the long run.
Yeah. And also the FPS is really high. And by that, I mean the fucks per second.
Oh, yeah.
They say fuck all the time. Oh, my God.
Yeah, they do. The frame rate's good, too.
Frame rate's good. Yeah, on performance mode. It's decent. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how anyone can play it on graphics mode, honestly. I tried it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, no, thank you.
I did the same, but that was like after like 20 hours. And I was like, nope, no way. So but what they're doing is actually really interesting. And it's a feature that they brought to Final Fantasy XIV. You could tell that these games were being Shadowbringers and Endwalker, the most recent two Final Fantasy XIV expansions, were being developed concurrently with this game. Because they recently brought a feature to Final Fantasy XIV before this game released called like dynamic resolution, where the game, you turn that on and the game supposedly will change resolution in order to increase your frame rate. I tried it for a second, but I didn't notice any difference in either like game quality or frame rate, but I'm also running on a overpowered rig for that game. But that's what they're doing in performance mode, is that the resolution will dynamically shift lower in the middle of action in order to keep the frame rate as close to 60 as it can. So they built that system for that game and then ported it to 14, because the games, believe it or not, are actually built on the same engine. It's a modified version of the engine. And you can see that kind of thing, like whenever you accept a side quest and it plays a little song and the quest goes on the side right there at the exact same spot it would in Final Fantasy XIV. And just like the way they've built a lot of things, like you collect or orchestration rolls and put them in your jukebox at the base. It's like that's all you fucking do in Final Fantasy XIV. Those are your collectibles. It's like just those same little quirks that they like. It's like, oh yeah, we know the music's awesome, so you're gonna want to collect it. It's like, okay, fine. It's of course the same composer. Some of the songs are like, oh, this is some of the songs from this game are like sound exactly like some of the stuff that's in Endwalker, and it's like, Endwalker probably got the rejects. Endwalker probably got the rejects from 16 because you could like swap these and it probably wouldn't change that much.
Oh, that's
and I'm
funny.
talking specifically about sort of like the mellowed out songs, like whenever you're in the hideout or like in the town, not like sort of the big dramatic battle scenes or anything like that. I'm talking about like the slowed down sort of like acoustic kind of shit. Because like we didn't get that kind of music until Endwalker. And all of a sudden it shows up in 16. So I'm like, okay, I see what happened here.
That's pretty funny.
It is, but also like that guy like just recovered from cancer, so I'm not going to give him too much shit for sharing his work between the two games. But yeah, like you could totally see like the bare bones similarities between the two. The other thing is that encounters are structured basically the same way that they designed dungeons in 14. So like there are no like dungeons in 16, but there are like story chapters. And whenever you do a story chapter, it sort of follows kind of a same rhythm where like you'll have a pack of enemies, you clear them out. You'll have a pack of enemies, you clear them out. Then there's like a mini boss. You clear out the mini boss. Then there's a pack of enemies, then another pack of enemies, then a mini boss. Then another pack of enemies, then another pack of enemies. And in between, like you're talking with your characters, there's probably going to be some cutscenes, blah, 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 blah. All in between all of this. Then after those last two packs, there's going to be the encounter's big boss. And this is exactly the same way that dungeons are designed in 14. 2 packs, mini boss. 2 packs, mini boss. 2 packs, final dungeon boss.
I hate when you
exactly the same.
I hate when you break it down like this because it makes I don't know. I just don't like that.
Whenever you've played a game,
I know you've put in so much time
for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say like not every single encounter is like this, but you start to recognize the pattern pretty quickly. At least I do. And another thing that's actually kind of funny is that this is a complete action combat system, with combos and abilities and whatever. But at the same time, when using your summon abilities, that control scheme is very similar to the controller control scheme for 14, where you have to pull the trigger and hit your abilities with the face buttons. That's kind of the only similarity between the combat, but it's there and it kind of messes with my muscle memory a little bit. Yeah,
I could see that.
So the other thing I want to talk about is that I'm kind of confused on people's expectations for what they wanted the game to be. And I've seen a lot of discussion about how like, oh, this game doesn't really give you any kind of choice. You have no say in what happens into the story. And I'm like, have you ever played a Final Fantasy game before? Like you never have a choice. You're just there for the ride.
Isn't that
you just get to experience the story?
Yeah, isn't that more of like a general thing that JRPGs versus Western RPGs? Like that's Western is typically more choice based and with obviously this is a broad generalization, but I feel like with at least the JRPGs I've encountered, it's more straightforward. It's more less about choice than about following the path that's set out for you.
On the whole, yes, and of course you'll have games where like. Sort of like Persona.
Oh,
where
yeah, of course.
A few different endings. SMT, you have a few different endings, but on the whole, you're going through and experiencing a story.
But even just like a few different endings versus something like, what was that Obsidian game from a few years ago? I'm blanking on it.
Outer of Eternity.
Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally every quest you do can have multiple outcomes and can dramatically change things, right? So like there's a difference in like approach.
Right. And so I think this disconnect comes down to the fact that this is a JRPG. This is a Final Fantasy game in the skin of a Western RPG. It looks and presents itself as if it's like The Witcher, right? But it's still a Final Fantasy-ass Final Fantasy game. You're going through straight linear corridors, fighting specific enemies. There's not much expression in terms of leveling up. You level up automatically. You can't assign skill points. You haven't been able to assign skill points in Final Fantasy since the first games, and the remakes have all patched that out where like you get skill points automatically. Like So it looks and maybe feels on first glance as if it's like, oh, this is just like The Witcher. Like there are these like talking head side quests, and it's like, yeah, but you're just going to complete them. Like there's no choice here, like in The Witcher, and nobody said there would be. Like this is a Final Fantasy game, and they're trying to, like, there was that whole discussion, and I talked about this on another episode, where like they were kind of like rejecting the term JRPG and they just wanted it to be an RPG. And it's like, yes, that's fine. JRPG was used as some kind of like pejorative, like in the early 2000s or whatever. But like now it's just used as like a classification term. And, you know, it's in my context, it's a it's a genre I fucking gravitate towards. So it's sort of the opposite. But like I guess that's different for, you know, actual Japanese developers, and I touched on that in that episode. I don't remember what episode that was, but I think that was at least a decent discussion that I had.
It was, yeah, I remember that, and it is important to bring that up because it's like whatever our context is as, you know, Westerners and people who consume these games, like it's going to be different for the people who make them. Yeah. You know, I mean, fundamentally, like, and the fact that you could just like sit there and not you, but people on the internet could just like reject what they're saying or take issue with it. It's like, are you even listening? You know,
right?
So
yeah, but like, and so then the discussion is like, I've seen this as like, oh, is this going to be the future of all Final Fantasy games? Is this what, you know, JRPGs are going to be? Is this what RPGs are going to be? Like all these different questions being thrown around. It's like, maybe these are just for discussion, but it's like, no.
I wish personally, just as an individual, I wish, because I'm really, really loving like everything about the approach that this game takes, but that's putting way too much on a single video game. Like that's unreasonable.
It is. And part of it is because like, this is the most well-known, you know, JRPG series, you know, the world over, right? It's still even the biggest in Japan, and you don't get a mainline entry. You know, you're lucky if you get 2 in a decade at this point, right? So like, it's maybe easy to say that, oh yeah, this is what they're all going to be now, but it's like, if you just look at the past, it's just not true. It's just not true. They have literally changed the battle system for every game since 9. They have not stuck to the same battle system. They've been completely different. They've been completely different styles of gameplay since 9. 9 was the last game with active time battle.
It feels like people are not using their long-term memory when they discuss the context of the series. Like they're just, it's like, what have you done lately? But then,
right.
You know what I mean? So
it's wild to me. It's like, you could probably go back and look at discussions of Final Fantasy XV and say, well, are all Final Fantasy games going to be open world?
Oh,
you know?
There's totally, like, that discussion absolutely happened. I don't doubt that.
Yeah. So like, it's just such a, maybe it's an easy talking point, but it's just a little lazy to me, and it just like lacks the kind of context. Like when people say that this game is too linear, I say, you did not play Final Fantasy XIII. You did not play Final Fantasy X. You know, you're just like looking at a couple of, I don't know, like you're just thinking of 15 maybe, or 12, I guess. But 12 was, 12 is rough. It's really strange to me. This game is no more linear than 13, and 13 was dinged for being linear at the time. This game is no more linear than 10. The only difference is that on 10 you can see the map in the corner of your screen. In this game, you don't need to, because you just kind of walk and look at the amazing scenery.
Yeah, do you know how nice that is to not have to look to the corner of the screen at a map and just like take everything?
Yeah.
It's so good.
You get to experience the world.
Truly.
Yeah. And then it's not until you're like doing these shitty side quests out in the more open areas of the game, because there are open areas of the game. They're not super massive. I'm actually thankful they're not, because if they were any bigger, I would kind of tear my hair out doing these side quests. But there, yeah, you get to explore around. To be honest, there's not much to explore because you're just kind of going from side quest to side quest. But again, it's part of their whole like design ethos of they don't want you to miss anything. And so there's like no optional shit. there aren't really any secrets. If they are, they're fucking buried so deep that nobody has found them because they're not there. like there's nothing hidden to find.
It's just not that game.
It's not that
Doesn't
game.
need to be that game.
It's not that game.
It's doing so many other things of value that you don't like. There's no need to focus on, like you said in the notes here, don't focus on what the game is not, but appreciate it for what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I like, as successful as this game is or is not, it will not affect the direction of Final Fantasy XVII too much.
It's probably going to be made by a completely different like team, right? I would imagine.
Most likely. That's still what they do. Like, this could be the most successful game of all time, right? But what Square does is they change up everything in between game releases, or they are developing things like simultaneously. They could be working on Final Fantasy XVII right now with a different studio, a different development unit. We have no idea. It's just what they do.
It could take place in space.
It could, yeah. Like this is what they do. So to say that this is like going to be the new direction of the franchise, like if anything, this is going to be the direction of Final Fantasy XVI too, if there is one.
Ooh.
Which, you know, is not any kind of guarantee because that's also fucking random whenever they make weird sequels to these games too. So
this game has sold very well though, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I honestly haven't looked, but I assume so.
I mean, considering it's only on one platform and the platform that it's on has been difficult, at least it was difficult to get your hands on.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they have sold a lot of PS5s, but
I do know personally a lot of people that are big Final Fantasy fans that don't have a PS5 and are waiting for a potential PC port. But they have said that they haven't even started on it yet.
Oh, wow.
And so that people should not hold their breath, but people are convinced because of the way Final Fantasy VII Remake happened. But again, that was a totally different development team.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's Square Enix, but that was a different development team. Like, of course, they want you to buy it now, but they have also said we have not started, and the exclusivity is 6 months. We will not even start the PC port potentially until like next year. Like, so people are going to be waiting a good bit for a PC port. But again, like, is this going to be the direction of Final Fantasy games? No, because next year we're getting a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
Which is a completely different style of game. And also, that game is just as linear as this one. That game is telling you one focused story.
In the limited amount I've played in that, there is a bit more...
There's more exploration,
agency, and I guess maybe not what you do, but how you approach. Like, there are more open areas, right, where you can like do things out of order. Side stuff, I mean. Side
stuff, yes. There's more side stuff.
Yeah, there's more side stuff is the main thing.
And the side stuff is more interesting.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But I'm talking about like the main sort of story, like the critical path, right? And the sort of diversions of like, oh, here there might be some treasure over here, there might be some treasure over here. Has slightly more of that than 16 does. That's about it. Otherwise, you're still going on the same one path forward.
I know that in my time with Final Fantasy VII Remake, I got lost at least once. So that's a knock against it.
The game has waypoints. Like,
you underestimate. Honestly, okay. I wouldn't be surprised if I get lost in 16 before I finish it. I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
You have to let me know because that would be wild. This game literally gives you gumdrops to follow.
It does. It does. I know.
And that doesn't stop. That doesn't stop. It gives you really useless crafting materials or like 2 gil. That is like, yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, okay. And then I've also seen like, oh, there's like, this is just like 14 where you're locked into the same build and so you can't. And I'm like, no, that's actually not true either. There's actually way more skill expression in this game than there is in 14 at the moment.
You can just flat out reset all your stuff at any time with no penalty.
You could actually change your build in this game, which is something you cannot do in 14.
Mm-hmm.
So for starters, like, yeah, you have less buttons in this, but also like you could freely pick and choose what you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, when you get more icon abilities, you can swap in between the different loadouts. Like say you want a Phoenix ability to go on, spoilers, a Garuda ability, then you can just like upgrade it to a certain, like to the mastery level. And then you could put that there. So you can really load up. Like, so if you don't have enough room for all the Phoenix abilities, but you want like 3 Phoenix abilities, you can upgrade them and then put them in a different icon slot. So there's actually really a lot you can do here.
That does remind me, though, there's something I want to mention, and I didn't experience this myself because I didn't try this like feature, but I think it was a Polygon story or a Verge story. I probably should have found the exact source, but they pointed out a shortcoming of the accessibility in this game, which is that there's two modes that you can play, right? It's like story focused or action focused. And the story focus gives you like aids that will make it easier to get through like the combat and stuff. But
you actually get those on no matter what mode.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can actually try them out. You can check your inventory. Yeah.
Oh, so they just give them to you no matter what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Because the point of that was like, if those are meant for accessibility, it's kind of an issue that those skills or abilities or whatever you want to call them take up slots in like your repertoire. And so you'd have to choose between using those aids versus actual, like not actual abilities, but like the abilities that are built into like the skill system that the game was designed around. Right. So it's like you're choosing accessibility over like options, basically.
Yes.
Which is a bit disappointing.
I will say though, I see the point, but at the same time, like if you are using the sort of accessibility options, the combat is sort of playing itself, and at that point, the other accessories won't matter.
Oh, well, I mean, but it would still be fun to have access to them, though.
No, I do see that point.
You know?
I do. Yeah, no, I do. So, like, I didn't try the only accessory I tried was the one that has the dog auto attack for you instead of you needing to command it, because I found that kind of cumbersome. But then I did want to use some other accessories that really synergized well with the skills I was using, because there actually is a lot of like sort of variety in the accessories that you get that then can combo really nicely with some abilities. And so I needed to swap out the dog accessory for something else.
That's kind of exactly it right there. Yeah. And I feel like if the purpose of those, and I don't even remember their names, they're very generic names. They could have been more creative with those. But that's neither here nor there.
It's like Ring of Timely Strikes.
Yeah. Like, come on. Anyway.
Is the one that is like auto attacks for you.
Yeah. So it's like if they
Ring of Timely Dodges is the one that dodges for you.
Right. Yeah. They could have made those interesting. But if they wanted,
it's better than just like auto attack ring, you know.
Sure, slightly, marginally.
Yeah. I see the point. Yeah.
Yeah, if they wanted to make those accessibility features, they should not interfere with other abilities. That's all. I saw that piece. I agree with it. I feel like they should have maybe made like a separate system for them or something.
I think that so I think this is also part of the whole actually like sanding down any kind of friction.
Yeah.
So if they put that in the menu, I think that they'd be worried that people wouldn't find them.
Okay.
So they actually have like the tutorial pop up being like, hey, you can equip these if you want to. Like anytime you get like it tells you how to like attack or whatever, it's like, and if you don't want to do that or like you need to do this or whatever, put on the accessory that does it for you. Like, so it's tutorialized and then it tells you the accessory and then it says it's in your inventory. I think it tries to give that like immediacy to it rather than like burying it in the menu. I think that's what they're going for. They've also been like really like heavily promoting that feature, by the way, rather than it just sort of being like, again, like a toggle in the menu. They've been like, hey, yeah, you could try out these accessories that we have. Like the main gameplay demo, one of the biggest chunks of gameplay we saw before release. They talked about the accessories for like an extensive period of time in that.
Okay. So that's good.
Yeah. Another thing, the game just got a patch to like, you can turn off motion blur, which I didn't even realize the game had motion blur, to be honest. And I'm usually like really sensitive to that kind of shit that I turn it off immediately in the settings.
Well, I find it to be helpful depending on the frame rate and sort of other factors, but
yeah, I usually turn it off.
Yeah.
Like at like high frame rates, and I did not even notice that the game had motion blur, so I have not messed with that yet. But it just got a patch for that. Yeah, like I kind of like, on one hand I feel bad for like people trying to make guides about this game, but on the other hand it's like there's no need for fucking guides for this game. Like there's literally no need. The only guides this game needs is like the hunt locations, which are not really that difficult to find. But if you like want to speed run them, you could just look them up. But like, that's it. That's really it. You don't need guides for like boss encounters. You don't need guides for anything. And it's refreshing, but it's also like, man, these sites are going to have zero content for this game. There's no fucking need.
Yeah, that's a little tough, right? Because guides are a big driver of like, clicks.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, a lot of sites are probably like, okay, yeah, we need to get somebody, like the sites that are not, turning to AI and, bullshit like that are like, okay, we need to have somebody on the Final Fantasy XVI guides. And it's like, there's nothing to write guides about. Like even the upgrade paths for weapons are like, yep, this weapon's better. Here you go. Like it's just very obvious. And I've seen shit about that too, where people are like, yeah, the weapons are stupid. It's just like, this one does more damage than this one. I'm like, have you played a Final Fantasy game? That's what they all are.
Or just kind of video games in general.
Or video games. But it's like, yeah, like they don't have any more stats. Like that's going back to shit. That might be going back to the first game. This armor has more defense than that one. This weapon has more attack than that one. That's it in Final Fantasy. There are no stats. Mm-hmm. There are, but like it doesn't matter. That's it. Just the weird preconceived notions that people had.
You're just too online.
I know. That's part of what the show's about.
It's true.
Being too online. I just get very annoyed. Like other people annoy me is the problem.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know that. I know that for sure.
Other people annoy me because they're all dumb and I'm right. I'm the one that's right.
100%.
And this podcast is me telling you how I'm right.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just here to sort of confirm that.
Exactly.
I'm supporting your correctness in every area.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say about Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it a lot. I plan on finishing this game. I don't say that often for at least narrative based video games.
Yes, you do.
Oh, do I?
You do, but then you say that all the time.
Well, I don't mean it. I don't mean it, but I feel like I mean it this time.
Yeah, like you just have to look at it as a 10-hour series, but with gameplay in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, if people have a PS5 and, they're kind of on the fence about it, I recommend it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm like, I think, like I said, 70% of the way through. I just have like a little bit to go. I'm kind of on some side shit that's sort of boring. And so I was playing a little more Diablo, which was also kind of driving me nuts. But yeah, I'm kind of towards the finish line here. And yeah, I'm having a very good time. It's like the first real exclusive, for the fucking PS5.
Yeah. I feel like I've justified having one for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening. I fucked up the schedule, and I apologize about that.
But you have a calendar now.
I know. We do have a calendar. Did you open the calendar?
No. I saw that you sent it to me.
Okay. Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucked up the schedule. So what I think I'm going to try to do going forward is that, so I know I keep changing it, and I'm sorry. I really am. Is that every 2 weeks is going to be like the main show with the two of us. And then whenever I feel like I have something to say or feel like it in general, I'll have a solo show.
Oh, you're not forcing yourself to
I'm not going to
sit down and monologue every other week.
Right. Because sometimes I don't have a monologue.
Right.
And I think otherwise it would start to get sad, like actually like really sad. And I don't think anybody wants to listen to that. So that's what I'm going to do. So think of that as like bonus episodes. How about that? Look at that bonus episode.
You could download GarageBand and start making...
That's true. I actually could, because I uninstalled GarageBand whenever I bought my Mac.
Really? So, you just went out of your way to be like, I don't want this on my...
Well, yeah, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to use this. And I'm a freak about storage space, as you know.
5th grade me would have loved having GarageBand on my computer.
Let's see. 7th grade me did enjoy having GarageBand on my computer.
There you go.
I fucked around with it. I was making loops of the stock sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe I will. Maybe the next issue of Worst Beats in the World will have my worst beats in the world.
Ooh, that's...
No promise.
That's exciting.
No promises. No promises whatsoever. Yeah, check out the Facebook page under new ownership.
Well, yeah, we're working towards that being active.
We're inching. We're getting there.
I wouldn't say check it out at the moment.
And check it out sometime in the future.
Sometime in the future, there might be some content there.
Follow me on my new Threads account.
There you go.
I don't. Yeah. And I still gotta make you make a TikTok, so that's gotta happen. But yeah, check out the YouTube. That's the good one for full episodes, clips, segment breakouts. That's what I'm gonna do next, is segment breakouts. So be on the lookout for that. And if you have anything to send us whatsoever, if you got some beats you want us to check out, or you have some thoughts on Final Fantasy 16, video at DeadEndRoad.co. I think we did a show. I think that was a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're back on it.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, we will see you on the next one. Appreciate you listening.